So we build the array, then we come in here. Awesome, awesome. Hey, welcome everyone. So basically we're coming in here and we're, yeah, loving it. Thank you guys. Hey, everybody's welcome. Yeah, you know how, we're 4 people away from being an affiliate. So I really appreciate you guys coming in here and hanging out with us. Basically, what I've got is I've created a program called WalkTheWeb, and what it is it's basically the same. It's like WordPress does for traditional websites. WalkTheWeb actually does for games. It uses Babylon underneath it. Allows programmers to create plugins and all kinds of cool stuff. Everybody's welcome, of course. And basically, what it's going to do is programmers are going to be able to create freemium things where you can say, hey, I'm great at making cars, so you can come in there, create a car, people can plug it in and then use it into their scenes. And we've done different things, like, for example, I'm just showing how we can grab an avatar from Mixamo with animations and stuff and then drop them into our scenes and use the animation. That kind of stuff doesn't require any programming. We can put different things in scenes. We're doing 3D stores. My whole goal is I want to make it where, let's say you create a golf course or a miniature golf course or something. You can have people go there and that golf course can be added to many scenes. One of the things I did to make this all come together and work is, man, you guys are making my day. I just have to say that right now. I love it. I've never seen my numbers this high. I appreciate it. But okay, here's the concept. What I did was I broke it down into 3 parts. First of all, we have 3D communities, which are the scenes. Then we have 3D buildings, which don't have to be a building. It can be any area within a scene at all. And then what happens is you can also have 3D things, which are like your avatars, your furniture, your vehicles, and all the other stuff that you build. By breaking them down into those 3 parts, we can mix and match them. I can build one building, for example, a Starbucks store, and I can drop it into many different scenes. The cool part is they don't have to be on the same server. And this is all open source, so down below the screen there, you can see there's a link to GitHub. You can download the code, and you can actually use this open source, put it on your own server, write plugins for it, and everything else. What I'm doing is I'm trying to make this where we can do things like Ready Player One. We can create games. People can go there and meet and do all kinds of cool stuff. That's what we're doing. We're creating all these different pieces. Man, thank you so much for following me. You guys are awesome. I love it. I love it. But yeah, so I code on here. I'm on here almost every day. We're doing everything from, okay, what I'm doing is I'm enabling it so that a programmer can actually create whatever they want. Since it uses Blender behind the scenes, you're going to be able to put your code in there, your script, and run it directly natively right into the scenes just by dropping it in. You can also create things in Blender, which, for example, we took these from Blender right here. I set it up where all you have to do is import the object, export from Blender as a Babylon object, load it into here, and then you can set all the different files, which includes any of your extra stuff that needs to travel with it, like your images. You can also add animations, and you can define what type of animation you want it to do. This is all available through JavaScript too, so you can call it from another program. You can do all kinds of cool stuff like that. But we have the start frame. You just set the frames of what you want to run. You can tell it if you want it to loop. It even has 3D sound, so you can set a sound and tell it how far linear distance you want it to be able to play that sound. We're putting in all kinds of cool features in this stuff. I'm writing plugins. You can write plugins. Everybody that follows me, if you ever need anything on the core product to make your plugin work, we're adding constant hooks and stuff where you can say, I need to put code in this particular area. Anything that you want to do, we can automatically just drop that in there and it'll work. So if you follow me, definitely any one of you, then basically if you need something, you're my first priority. I'll take care of you guys. Just letting you know. Okay, so we're creating things. Let's say you're great at making cars. Well, the thing is, you can create a plugin that lets, let's say, somebody drive a Jeep for free. And then once they have that Jeep and they can drive it around in their scenes, all they have to do is download the plugin, turn it on. Now the Jeeps work in their scenes, and they can add them just as a thing in any scene that they want. Once they have the Jeep, though, let's say you say, oh, if you want a passenger to sit in the passenger seat, then you need to unlock it and you need to pay a fee to do that. Or let's say, oh, if you want the Ferrari to drive, you have to pay for a subscription. Now you can drive the Ferraris instead. That's the kind of stuff I want to create. That's the kind of environment this is. But can you imagine going there playing golf, or something, and next thing you know, hey, there's a t-shirt shop. You can go in there and buy a t-shirt. The cool part is you create a scene, and if it becomes real popular, what'll happen is you can actually go to the businesses and say, hey, virtual real estate, this game is real popular. If you want your business right here in the scene, then basically if you pay me X dollars a month, you can have your business right there. We're talking virtual real estate and renting out spaces in your popular games. Nobody else in the world has done anything like that, but I'm making it possible, and I did it for free for you guys because there's going to be things where you need from me, and I'll make my money along the way. I'll create sites for people, I'll create plugins for people, and we'll make money on our own. So what I wanted to do, though, was I wanted to kind of create a standard everybody could use across the board, and so that's exactly what I did. Created this standard where everybody has like a common idea of how we use it. Now, it's Babylon. So that piece is all there. And then I added this layer that makes it easy for your end user to administer the site. Now you can just create the plugins, and we can add the plugins just as easy as turning them on. Working this out to be just like what we do for WordPress. But in my case, for example, these plugins, the first one is multiplayer. Different people come to the site. Well, guess what? You can have multiplayer turned on, and you can actually have different people show up into your site. You'll be able to see them. If you click on them, you can chat back and forth. We'll keep on improving it. We'll make it work really well. But that's the whole idea that I made it. That's the whole reason I went open source. I want this to be something everybody can contribute, everybody can talk about, everybody can download. You can give me feedback. You can say, hey, look, this part of the code, we need to change it to this. It works better. Or this fixes this problem I saw. You guys can give me code samples of what you need. Everything. It's a two-way street. I'm always on here. I broadcast about every day. So basically, yeah, that's it. But we're creating some cool stuff like in here. I grabbed this guy for Halloween and we added an animation to him. That's what we do. I come in here, and if I see something broke, I fix it. We just keep on working on it. And I keep on pushing out my updates back out to the website. So GitHub will always have the latest. Just so you know, also, I did design it so that it will check for updates, and it will give you a badge out here and tell you when there's new updates to this or any of the plugins. So I have code like that already in place. A lot of cool stuff. I just keep on adding it in here. And like I said, I want to do some stuff like Ready Player One. So one of my next steps is to make it where you can create your own avatars, and you can actually use them on any one of these websites you go to. Yeah, I experienced a little bit of lag. I've had to overcome quite a few things, and the more efficient I get at adding things in and taking them out, then it seems like I'm able to overcome the lag on quite a few systems and stuff. There's still more balance I have to do, making sure we don't load too many objects at once and stuff. But one of the cool things is this. With the design that I did, what's really cool is I've designed it so that it can actually load things as you get closer and unload things as you walk away. For example, when I walk over here and I get a certain distance away, notice some of the objects disappeared off the screen. What happens is I've actually created these zones, which are nothing but a transparent box, and when the avatar walks inside, it tells it to go out on the internet, wherever the server is, get the items that it needs to create the definitions for them, bring them back, then render them on the screen. But notice I also get rid of them when you walk out of that area. So what happens is I created different size boxes for different distances. When you walk up on something from a far distance, basically it shows what I call the extreme zone, and you'll see the item is over there. So you can say, oh, there's a building over there. I want to go check that out. You can have it be whatever objects you want it to show, so it can look like an appearance of a building at a distance. As you walk closer, you walk into another one of these invisible boxes, and what happens is now it would load the outside of the building so that you can see the details of the outside of the building, and maybe some window displays or whatever you want it to show from that distance. Then when you walk even closer yet, what happens is you'll go inside of another one, and that's for the inside of the building. But in my designs, I actually let you create as many different of these areas as you need. So you can actually come in here and you can create the load zones, and then for any object in the scene, I can just right click on any object that I have, and one of the options I have under Show Advanced is I can tell it when I want that object to load. So if I say Extreme Zone, High Zone, Normal Zone, or if I've created any other load zones, they'll show up on this list, and I can tell it when I want that particular item to load. I can also attach sounds to any object on the screen. And they're 3D, so if you turn and you move your head back and forth, you'll actually hear the sound in different areas. The other part is you can also, there's all kinds of cool things for that. But notice, let me refresh the screen just because I'm getting where more pieces you don't have to refresh. But of course, there's a few more that I've added that I haven't worked out everything perfect yet, so you still have to reload certain things. Let's get our guy loaded here. There he is, and my character. We have all kinds of transformations we added. By the way, the guys themselves have your avatar itself. You can choose your colors. You can choose from over 200 animations. But notice, okay, when I walk backwards here, those disappear at that level, but notice that guy's still there. I'm actually waiting for getting into the high zone, which is right there. If I check the zones, there's this one here. And one zone can even load another zone. So it kind of does both things there. That one loads that, and notice it triggered loading that zone. And when I walk in that zone, domino effect. So you can tell it to load things at different style. The whole concept is when you play a game, you basically load up the whole level, you play the level, when you beat it, you unload that, then you load up the next level. But this stuff is one of those deals where basically as you're walking, it loads and unloads things. So I'm teaching it to how to load things and unload things perfectly so that we don't snowball and use up our memory. But it's all kind of cool stuff. Yes, it's all pure JavaScript. And that's what it is. So, and like I said, it's open source, so everybody can get to the different pieces. You can check it all out. You can add code. You can make your suggestions to me. We're doing the whole thing. We're going to keep on building on it. We're going to keep on adding new functionality to it. Everything we do, we just keep on adding to it. I'll keep on creating plugins that do different functionality. I'll keep adding hooks so that you can put your run your code in different places within the thing. For example, if in your code you want something for an on-click or a right-click or whatever, all you have to do is use the hook, tell it, I have code, this is my JavaScript, and this is where it goes in the code, and basically it'll run that piece. So, okay, so any questions so far? We're getting there. And by the way, I am building other things using... I do a lot with Blender just because you can do some really cool, complex stuff. You could do some things natively in the program, but this is my tribute to the book Snow Crash from Neil Stephenson. Basically, in that book, they had a club, and... it's on JavaScript side. Everything is on this thing. It's JavaScript, uses JSON. I do some things where you're saving on the admin side where it uses iframes so that nothing interrupts the actual animation of the scene while it's going on. But this here is a little tribute I did to Neil Stephenson. Basically, in that book, they got on the internet, and one of the places that they went to was a dome-shaped building. And when they went inside, one of the things about it is that it had different sections for different types of people. So you had your section for hardcore developers, you had your section for graphics artists, you had your section for everything. And so I just created this week. It's a new addition I just made. But what it has is we have a whole bunch of sections. We're going to allow different things to happen down below, and they like to have fights down below. You could challenge somebody and do a fight. But in this case, you can also come upstairs, and I'll be putting in, some lounge areas. We'll put in some couches and different things. By the way, we can also play live videos, so that kind of stuff works. But yeah, so this is a building I built this week, just getting it started. But as you guys create things, you can even throw them in here, give them to me, and I'll put them into this building so we can have all kinds of cool stuff created from Blender and whatever you create. We'll put your creations in here and make it kind of a developer hangout, programmer. Could be a graphics artist hangout, anything, anybody. And all of our users can come here and check us out. Or if somebody has a question, you can come here and find other people. That's the goal. Not there yet, but we're getting there. We're getting there. But as you can see, we put a lot of pieces into place. Here's some other functionality. You can create your own avatar. You can select from 10 different avatars. You can select your colors just by basically picking on something and telling it what color to be. You can drag it around. You can also set the name of your avatar. Yeah, that's all good. You can do things like avatar animations. For example, you can change your walk. If I come in here and do, for example, Beast Walk, it takes a second to reload. I'll get better about that, but right now it actually does reload when I do the changes. But it does. I am running with it. That's why. Let's see. When I do the Beast Walk, we get. There he goes, Beast Walk. So there's a couple more adjustments I have to do on some of that, but there's all these different animations. Each one of these have different choices you can make for how to animate when they do that function. We also have optional gestures. You can add different animations, and then down here you can tell it when to play them. And this all works in multiplayer, so the other people can see it. We have it all under, I've used the exact same release as Babylon did, which is the Apache release. So yes, basically it's all based wide open. I matched the one that that Babylon used, since I used Babylon as a core behind mine. Just made more sense to do that. And we still have some, things like, custom note any changes you make to it if you do it, stuff like that. But basically, we can do these different animations in here. My idea is that I made this open. I wanted more people to be able to use it. I wanted to be able to get it out there for everybody. So I basically made sure that we could... it's an open system. I wanted it to be available for everybody. I'm trying to enable everybody to do things no matter what level of programmer or even user you are. And so I try to adapt it and put it into places where everybody can do everything. So I'm, instead of trying to limit what the programmers can do, I'm actually opening up as many things as I can so that programmers can always, do the different pieces. They can add anything they want. And when you need something to make something work, I'm jumping in there and making sure we can do that too. Right now it's reloading my position also, which I didn't have it doing before. I'll have to double check that. But okay, that's just some of the functionality there. And once I do those things, there it is. I know, victory, yeah. Oh, here's another cool part. In the settings, here's what I have. I have the follow camera. You can go to first person view. You can also go to scene camera, so it's kind of back farther. It also has a self camera, so you can look at yourself where you're at. So I have some of those things in place. But then also we have 2D view. All we have to do is switch it, and now it's 3D view for poor man's glasses. Then we also have VR headset, and we have VR headset with the gamepad set up. So you can actually take advantage and use those different things. Not only this, but notice that I'm in admin right now. You can actually browse these sites directly at, without the admin loaded. So that's where your end users would actually use it. And you can walk around, do whatever you want to do. And we get the full-on effect of whichever mode you picked. So it does do actual 3D at this point in time. And I have to say, adding to that, Babylon has already added about, I think it's 7 or 8 customizations that are for particular 3D VR glasses. To me, that's just camera views. It doesn't affect anything else I coded. So all I have to do is add these other camera views to what I'm doing here. I'll add them to the drop down. It'll be like 3D VR with for Oculus, and then there'll be one for whatever, But I already know that Babylon already created all those various ones. So all I have to do is generate the camera view, and it will take whatever scenes we've created and automatically render for those different VR sets. So, and thank you for following me. I really appreciate that. But yeah, so I'm working on it. We keep on adding functionality and features. Basically, what I like to do is it's the setup so that people have the framework in place, the things in place, and then from there we can build different scenes. We can make them whatever we can do anything that Blender can do, and we can do it because we can use Blender objects. That's why, and we can do anything that Babylon can do because we drop them in the scenes, and I'm running the Babylon engine. So that pretty much makes it able to do quite a bit of stuff. And all I do is keep on syncing it together, bringing all the various parts in place, and adding them in. So that's where I'm at. That's what I keep on doing and adding, and yeah. So I can't wait till different programmers get in here and basically, add different stuff. They, when we have cars to drive around and it's like a game when you drive, or if you hop on a train and go to the next city over. This is a tool that can allow us to build internet cities, and it'll be places people can hang out. I'm waiting for people to create things like a museum where you walk through a door that says Gettysburg, and next thing you know, you're in the middle of a battle with horses running by and stuff, and you can pause it, rewind it, fast forward, and everything else in the scene while you're walking around in it. That's the kind of stuff that this stuff is capable of, and I can't wait till people spend some time in there and actually create it. Or online schools that actually have 3D object models that you can manipulate, turn, assemble. Can you imagine learning Autoshop and you're actually pulling apart a carburetor in different pieces? That's the kind of stuff that we can do in 3D. So this is a place where we can actually take advantage of those and actually use the pieces that we've created. Pretty cool, huh? Okay, well, I've said about as much as I can think of. I just keep on coding on it. And like I said, I give it different things. I keep on giving it different functionality. I keep on building as much as I can. As I build it, I keep on fixing it and adding different stuff. Every time I work on it, I come back in here and then I upload GitHub, so it always has my latest. When I do enough fixes or updates, then I put it out as a release to anybody that's already downloaded it, where all they have to do is click one button and they get all the latest code. So that kind of stuff is all on the table, and those pieces are already in place, just to make it simple. Just to make it simple. It's a host for 3D websites. And one of my next things that I'm going to be working on is we have this thing where right now in your settings we can do aliases. So notice I started every website with 3D dot. Instead of www, we do 3D dot. That way all of the websites have that common thing. We already know by the URL that it's going to be a 3D site we find. But one of the things we can do is we can actually set different buildings by themselves without the full scene. So the full scene happens at this level, and if you put a name at this particular level, you can tell it to load a scene. Like if I come in here, I can say I want to load a particular community. There's my domain. It's on HTTPS. And I can say load this small island community and call it whatever I want here. As soon as I create that path, it's now here, and if I click on it, that's the path that allows me to get to this particular scene. It's that simple. If I decide, okay, I need another building in here. Oh my, Wait for my avatar. It's still loading. Here he comes. Okay, if I decide, oh, I want another building in this scene, it doesn't matter where, I can come in here. Well, I got to edit this building, this scene, by the way. I'm going to click this little link down here to edit the scene. It loads up the same scene, but now I'm editing it. Oh, before I show you the next part, I got to show you this too. I actually included what I call action zones around the doors too, and they trigger doors opening. So the second you walk over here, you get close enough, it automatically opens the door for you. So I have things like that in place already too. But I can come in here, and I'm going to rotate this direction, and I can actually say, edit this community, and add 3D buildings to this community. And from my list of things on my server at this point, I can say put WalkTheWeb Club, for example. Come on, is it doing it? It's a pretty big club. Let's see if it does it. Come on, did something trigger or did I get an error? No, no error. Is it just doing it? Okay. It's going to... Oh, wait a minute. Add 3D building. Duh. Helps if I actually click the button. Know my own product, right? Okay, now I've actually put this club in this space. And notice how big it is and everything else. The other thing I can do when I'm editing is go to avatar camera so that I can move around a very large area. Okay, so I put this building here and notice it's, you know, too big, too awkward where it's at. It's not facing the right direction and everything else. This is where I can actually move it left, right, back and forth. We can totally set it right where we want it to be. We can also scale it. So if it's too big, too small, we can actually change that because I've actually parented every single object that we add in a scene to a particular place. That way it makes it real easy to make everything fit. So we can have the object there. I can also rotate it. And now we have a new building. I'm going to go up a little bit. Let's get the ground on the ground level. There it is. There's my ground. Okay. And basically, I now have that building in this place. And when I walk around, it loaded the awning because of where I'm standing. And of course, the insides all came into place. And it is a full-on building. The other thing that's kind of cool, let's say I wanted to show off this building in a different scene. This is kind of funny too. But I can actually take this building and just by right-clicking it, I'm editing it again. I can make it real small. So let's say I wanted to make it 1/10 scale. You can also type numbers in here if you decide. You can either use the arrows to move them, or you can 0.1 and 0.1. And now I have a 1/10 scale of my building in this scene. That's kind of cool. And notice the load zones still work. Notice the awning isn't out, but yet as I walk closer in proportion to the size of the building, now the awning came out. If I walk closer yet, I'll see the insides of the building show up. See, there they are. Kind of cool, huh? That's all part of my designs of how this stuff all comes together and works as a whole. So we're able to create even models of different buildings and use them in our scenes. Everything works. And things undo as you walk farther away. Pretty cool. Now, the designs originally already allowed this to be hosted in one place and the scene hosted in another. What I have to do now is I'm making some things that'll make that real easy. So you can get somebody's URL, like I said over here. let's say the WTW club, all they have to do is know this path here, and they're going to be able to add it to your scene. And it'll automatically know what server it comes from. It'll transfer the data from one server to another when you walk inside of the action zones, load zones, and the whole thing will work. So that's kind of the way I designed it and brings it all together. You can have full control of all these parts. We have things that are 3D stores, so you can attach them to a WooCommerce store, and then you edit all your products in your WooCommerce store, and they automatically show in your 3D store. I have a WalkTheWeb piece on WooCommerce right now. I'm on WordPress plugin right now. So WalkTheWeb is there. It's an old version, and it doesn't work for these independent sites yet. But that's one of my next features is I'm going to be setting that up to make it work for all sites no matter who hosts it where. So just so you know, those kind of pieces are all coming together. And that's what I'm doing, bringing all the pieces together so that we have some really cool stuff to work with. We have cool scenes. We have, we have these different pieces, and it's multiplayer, so anybody can actually come to the same scenes, and you'll see each other walking around. You can click on each other, and it already has a chat set up for you. Cool stuff, huh? Oh yeah, and then we have animations, so things like the ceiling fan. That's actually created in Blender, and if I right-click it, you can see, oh, that's the lodge itself. Let me get the object up here. Am I getting it? I know, it's a moving object. Okay. I'm not quite catching it. I'll work on that. We'll find out why. But basically, yeah, I think it's catching this part. We'll figure out why. Okay, so we have all these different parts. We have things like that animated ceiling fan that were created in Blender. Then I brought them in from there. Let's see, ceiling fan. You can just drag it. You can drop things into the scene just by clicking on them, adding them to the scene. It's that simple to work with. So, well, I want to thank every one of you for jumping in here and hanging out with us. Make sure you've followed if you haven't already, because, of course, anybody who follows, if you need something for your plugins or you want a feature to work, or if there's something we need to pay attention to, then you guys are my first priority. I want to thank every one of you for coming in here. It's been great. But I'm going to jump back into some coding things. We're going to correct a couple more issues that we spotted and see if I can't finish getting this shopping cart functionality out here. We played around today, did some Halloween stuff by adding that ghoul kind of guy. Brought him in from here and added him to our scene. As you can see in our test ground, it's this little scratch ground that I have. But also, I'm on almost every day, so please feel free to join me again and catch what we're doing. And there's a couple things I'm going to fix. For example, when I close this right now, notice when I open it, it is actually clicking on something that it shouldn't. So I'm going to find out what that is and see if we can't block that transaction. Make sure that when I edit this, it's not editing everything. It's not hitting areas that it shouldn't.